Hey guys, Nakama here and back with more anime rankings. Time will be ranking the romance anime. And yeah, this is how I do it. I put all the animes that I talked about into the tier list and then rank them all. I'm currently only doing anime now. Maybe I'll actually put in the mystery games so that this tier list will even become bigger because, I really want to make a huge ass tier list. So, And yeah, I decided to only talk about romance this time. A single guy talking about romance. What a tragedy, right? I really watched a lot of romance shows. And there's even a possibility that I missed a few, but I hope I didn't. Adachi to Shimamura is a 12 episode anime. I'll say it's good, but I don't know. Like, from a romance anime, I really think it's kind of disappointing. And not that it's it has a good production values, the visuals and the visuals look amazing. From an adaptation point, I don't think it's bad, but the story in of itself is kind of like very slow. And on top of that, it's a story where the main character kind of like struggles to confess. And those type of stories are really like obnoxious to watch because you want for the characters to get along well and continue on and doing more fun and interesting stuff, and not just blue ball themselves and also the weavers for a very long time. And unfortunately, Adachi Toshimura kind of like does that. I think season 2 will fix that, but there is no season 2. I really can't make it go above C. I mean, look at the fucking Sword Art Online. The fucking dude slammed the girl in what? How many episodes in it? Was it episode 8, 7? Yeah, that's really early. That's really impressive. And on top of that, Sword Art Online's main genre isn't even romance. I probably should talk about Sword Art Online because technically it's a romance. It's still a good show, and yeah, I honestly don't think it's even at Sword Art Online's level. Again, very detailed, very emotional, the characters are like, the main characters' feelings are very well fleshed out. But just because the execution is good doesn't mean it's less annoying to watch someone fail to confess for the entirety of the show. Bunny Girl Senpai, the problem is that I really should not be ranking this. I only watched, 6 episodes of this, when it's supposed to be 12 in the movie. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it because the main character is literally cropped out from a Bleach series. And Mai is pretty bae. She is pretty cute. For whatever reason, I stopped watching. And I think I stopped watching specifically because the first episodes were really good and the arc kind of finished very early on. And the main dude just kind of like starts hanging out with other girls, and then I realized, it's one of those shows. Blue Moon to You is really good. It's a really fantastic show, honestly. Yeah, I actually have a really fun. Also, yeah, Dragon Ball, I really should put it high. I mean, I put Naruto really high. Like, I'm not punishing shows as much just for having filler. But I think in regards to Bloom Into You, I think it should be here. And Bloom Into You is a story about, gay story about, I see a little bit of a pattern here of the shows I watch. And Bloom Into You is a story about you and the person who, Nanami, their relationship. And, the confession actually happens very early on the first episode, probably. And it's a romance between these two, and unlike some other romance anime, the romance actually starts pretty early on. And also, what I really love is that it's not just about being lovey-dovey. There's also a lot of themes and messages about people understanding one another, not having that many high hope and expectations and things. Just, accepting life as it is, but also about being yourself and not succumbing under social pressure and not pretending to be someone else. In that sense, I think it's a really enjoyable show. It has a really good message. I guess I really can't deny that I was kind of bored with certain moments, certain scenes, but like it's whatever. It's a really like small nitpick and has probably more to do with my own mentality than anything else. But yeah, it's a really beautiful show. Sometimes the sakuga and the colors and how it conveys the emotions are really well done. Citrus is really freaking good. It's really good. And I like Bloom Into You. It's way more spicier. Oh yeah, it's going up. It's going up. Oh boy. Oh boy. I really have a high opinion of a lot of romance shows, huh? Like maybe it's around here somewhere. Nah, yeah, I think it's perfect around here. Citrus is really a spicy show. One of the main complaints I have is probably the author overuses their love triangle aspect a little too much. But aside from that, the main character uses is just absolutely lovable. She's such a like brave, bold, and like charismatic character. And also, the show's not just about romance. It's also about rebelling against society. Yeah, I mean, Yuzu's like kind of a rebel, and she also like really hates the school system and how like dictatorial it is. Even in the way she dresses and even how she behaves differently from the other characters, you can see the parallels going on there. She also like speaks out her mind. She's such a lovable girl, and she also has a crush on this the school president who happens to be her adopted sister. Yeah, there's a really beautiful. Man, Gigak and I are really similar, huh? Yeah, but yeah, it's such a good show, but I also think it's also has a lot of good messages and the typical romance things story stuff that you learn, the characters learn. It's good. And also it's really spicy and finds ways to make things very entertaining and also very hot. I can't deny that the girls making out and like getting on top of one another. It didn't. I won't say it didn't affect me. It did affect me, and it has awoken some things. Oh yeah, I think I probably should talk about Chobits. The reason I kind of like am hesitant about this is because I only watched like 5 or 6 episodes, and the show is way longer than that. Like I probably should stop ranking shit that I didn't fully see. But yeah, I think it's around here. It will be much higher if I like continue the story. My Dress Up Darling is also insanely good, but it's so hard to rank these shows, right? Because I'm comparing it to all other shit. I don't know, it's really hard to rank. You could easily put this about here. The only like reason I think if season 2 happens and I watch it, and it's probably going to skyrocket here probably. Gojo is a really fun guy, and Marine is just best girl. She's like an actual human. Like she's so well characterized and she's so cool. And yeah, she's also a huge anime and doujinshi fan, which makes her very lovable. And she's kind of similar to Yuzu in the sense that she's also like super open. Mary's even more open than her. So in that sense, she's like really lovable. And I also kind of really enjoyed the company of kind of people similar to her, I guess. So in that sense, it was kind of really fun to watch the show like this. And what else am I supposed to say? There's also, a lot of practical knowledge too about cosplaying, which I really enjoyed. I also really love watching shows that are very educational, which is why Dr. Stone is that B. I mean, I really could and should continue watching Dr. Stone. I haven't, unfortunately. But yeah, cosplay stuff, really cool stuff. And also the other characters are really adorable. Yeah, it's a really good show. I also almost feel like I should rank Citrus even higher, but fucking hell, man. It's so hard for me to rank. Okay, maybe I'm going a little too overboard. And also, there is some like changes. Specifically, you see that like Kuroko and haikyuu are way higher than Ping Pong. Yeah, I think Ping Pong is overrated. I'm sorry. And I watched Ping Pong twice because it's so short. But yeah, moving back to the romance shows. Yeah, my Dress Up Darling is absolutely cute. Marin is our horny queen. Going to Golden Time. Yeah, I think romance shows in general are kind of like getting here. Now the real question here is that should I even put the Golden Time even higher than like my Dress Up Darling? I really should, because one thing that's making this really difficult is the fact that my Dress Up Darling's adaptation is insanely good. Like I think they actually might have used rotoscoping for the character movements, and like the 2D animation is like insanely detailed. So it's like even Kuroko and like Haikyuu's animation is quite good too. But like even Kuroko and Haikyuu sometimes have some like lazier animation than My Dress Up Darling. The only reason I really don't want to put these shows even higher is because My Dress Up Darling is only one season. I can't like put one season of a show where not a whole lot happened like so high just because the animations were insanely good. Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of like hard to like make it go bloop bloop. So it's really hard to do that. Golden Time, I honestly think it should be way higher. I really love all these three shows. So it's like kind of like making them move around is very difficult. But Golden Time, I think, like benefits from again very early on romance, probably around from episode 5, and like very funny, goofy shenanigans, and it also doesn't take itself too seriously. So a lot of comedic stuff happens in it. Yeah, I think the author of Toradora and Golden Time is really good at writing a rom-com. Yeah, it's really entertaining. The only thing that's kind of like makes me salty about Golden Time is the Ghost Boundary arc. For such a show about internal conflicts and people trying to sort out their own emotions, it's kind of fucking ridiculous that the finale and the last arc happened to be so external. Like the main character having amnesia is such a like weird way to like extend this conflict. And I don't know. I really kind of wish there was a different conflict to be had, and not just like, oh, the main character keeps literally forgetting who he is and about her loved one, and you know that's kind of like lame. That's really lame. It's such an external conflict for such an internal and mature show, and it's also kind of boring too because you know it's the show will really suck if suddenly the main character like forgets and like they depart, and if that's the ending, then it's kind of like lame. And you know the author's gonna roll back. I don't know. I also think the amnesia plot is just there to like stall more development. Happy Sugar Life is really good, insanely good. Holy shit! I think people are really unfair to this show. I actually think it should be here. I think people are fucking molding their ass off because I literally put a pedo show above other shit. Now, first of all, this is not a pedo show, okay? There's nothing like the relationship is not like sexual. It's like completely platonic. It's it's cute and comfy. Other than that, I also think this show is very similar to Evangelion in the sense that the characters are super flawed and a lot of fucked up people appear in the show. But I also think this show's messages and like insight is like so deep. Like it's insanely deep and like emotional, and how well the characters like feelings and like how people's mentality are portrayed. It's very interesting in that sense. And I also think it's always like keeping me on my edge. Like there are some romance shows that I really enjoyed, but I kind of admit that not a whole lot is happening, or not like sometimes I'm kind of getting like bored. There were times I was kind of bored, but Happy Sugar Life, man, holy shit, I was never bored. I was like super intrigued by every single episode, and I think I watched this entire show in like 2 days, and only because I like needed to sleep. Aside from the, like the visuals and being really like show don't tell, it's being really good and how helping that the show the conveying the show's emotions and other stuff. I also think the main character they how somehow managed to make the main characters so human in the sense that they all have some redeeming qualities, but at the same time they're so fucked up in a lot of ways. And there's also like so many like plot points like happening too, because one of the things about romance is that they kind of like tunnel the whole thing into two main characters' relationship, and so it feels like a very linear experience, whereas this show doesn't feel linear at all. There's a lot of moving parts happening, like the little girl's brothers searching for her little sister, and like there's a subplot going there too. And Sato's friend, who's a female friend, also happened to meet the brother, and there's also things going on there too. There's also some like yellow hair, some guy who's a victim of sexual assault, and he is also like dealing with that trauma. And there's also the teacher. And there's also like so many like moving pieces. And if you like watch the show, like if you like watched all the shows in my S rank, you can and the S and A rank. I love shows that have dozens of characters, and those dozens of characters are moving around, and there's so many moving plots. I really love shows like that. As you can see, top 5, and even like some of the shows have so many moving pieces, and I really love enjoy watching those kind of shows. And I think people just kind of like drop this show or hate it simply because of its concept and how dark it can be. But nah, like you gotta watch the show, and even if it's dark, it has a lot of meaning in it. It feels a lot real, you know. A lot of people like go through similar stuff, and while some of this symbolism is not entirely direct, like entirely like super real, it's still like I can relate to it. I can see what the author and the characters are trying to get at about the human psychology. And yeah, it's good. It really depends whether it's good or not. Is really dependent on how much receptive you are to this dark shit. And I know a lot of people also accused Saro of being just a typical Oriental, which is really not the case. Like there's a huge difference between Saro and Gasai. You know, Gasai is just completely obsessed bastard. And while Saro is obsessed over this little girl, she's also like the people, like the society and the people around her are like such jackasses. She also like that's kind of forces Saro to be so cruel. But then also, yeah, Saro is also very flawed character. She really doesn't want the other people to take away this girl, and she also don't want to reveal the relationship, which is obviously not the society obviously is not going to accept. So yeah, that's really interesting. It's a very interesting show. Is it fucked up? Yes, absolutely. But look, I'm not a fucking snowflake, okay? I'm not going to put down shows simply because they're fucked up. If anything, having a lot of fucked up shit happening in your story is almost a bonus simply because most shows don't go that far. So in my head, it almost feels a bit unique. Like there are so many shows, right? Like Demon Slayer, Jujutsukaisen, Chainsaw Man, like those shows kind of like fucking intermingle in my mind because they're so goddamn similar. And to themselves and to other shows like Naruto, My Hero, those shows are so similar in themes and characters. It's kind of like blend in my head together, and I kind of get bored of it. Whereas sometimes it's kind of really like refreshing to watch some fucked up shit, because you realize, oh, these type of things happen in real life. Not a lot of other shows are willing to take that step forward into exploring those territories. Either because it's not very profitable, either because it's just a cesspool of drama. And I really appreciate the show for having a mature and interesting take on very fucked up subject matters. Speaking of fucked up subject matters, Higehiro is also really good. The only problem is that I don't think the production values are nearly as good. It also doesn't help that I didn't watch the show fully. It's going down. It's probably around here. But yeah, the idea is that this main guy who's 26 years old, I guess adopts. He doesn't really adopt. He just picks up from the streets a teenage girl, and the teenage girl wants to sleep with the guy because she feels that's the story. And no, the guy is like super responsible and stuff. He doesn't he scolds the girl, and the girl is has some really sad backstories, and there's an obvious, and yes, the thing that everyone is expecting, the thing that everyone thinks has happened. That's why the girl is, wanting to have sex for rent. I didn't finish the show, unfortunately. I kind of just stopped. That's the thing about the show. Like, funny thing about okay, at least Shimamura and Adachi is understandable. I didn't fully enjoy the show, which is why I dropped it at episode 11. I mean, even for a 12 episode show, I don't know. I just felt like I think I understood well. Same thing with Detective Haikyuu. It's also romance anime, and I also somehow managed to watch 11 episodes of a 12 episode show, and I didn't watch the final episode. I really don't understand myself sometimes. Why am I dropping shows on the final episode? It's kind of ridiculous. Going back, yeah, and I think it's a good show simply because, like I said, similar to Happy Sugar Life, it deals with a lot of just shows life and how sometimes it's a bit fucked up. I compared to Sado, I think the main character is much more mature, and he's also less flawed. So in that sense, he's also respectable, but also the show also managed to convey that yes, he does have feelings for the teenager. Moving on, and he and her circumstance, really fucking good show. Yeah, I think in terms of romance, I think no. I have been extremely cruel to some of these shows. And if there's any show that should be like extremely high, I think this show should be. First of all, it's really fucking funny. Second of all, it's okay. I don't care about who made it. I know it's made by Hideaki Anno and Gainax when they were at their prime. It's literally right after they made Neon Genesis Evangelion. Regardless of that, I just generally think it's an extremely good show with an extremely good character analysis and psychological analysis. It's very similar to Bloom into You in the sense that, you know, it's show saying the characters to be themselves and also letting the past go, and all sorts of that good life messages, you watch the show and you felt like you learned something. And also it talks about society and how school is meant to like brainwash us and make us into like mindless machines, and that the top students are actual people in need, because being a top student doesn't really like help you in any way. If anything, the main character has a huge ego problem in the sense that she wants to be praised by the teachers and other students. That's why she ended up like working so hard to be the top student. And she also kind of like slowly getting into realization of that, her own flaws, of her own ego, and how she like sacrificed being herself in order to become this top student, this role model. And it's in that sense, it's a really good show. There's also some backstory, the heavy backstory of the main guy's backstory. And also, generally the show is extremely fun and funny. And a lot of the characters are also very enjoyable. There's also some side characters that are super fun. Yeah, it's a really good show. I also really want to watch this, read this show's manga, because there is some people like complaining about it, saying it's really fucked up and shit. It went to do fucked up shit. I don't know. I really like enjoy sometimes watching like fucked up shit in stories. So who knows? Maybe I'll like read it. But yeah, it's so weird. Like you might be wondering, well, why does this romance deserve to be in A while others are all stacked up in B? I don't know. I think it's a lot of like different stuff, right? I think with Citrus, it was definitely managed to be entertaining and hot. His and Her Circumstance is really enjoyable, but it's not hot, okay? Citrus is really fucking hot, but it also kind of repeats itself, not gonna lie. And Bloom Into You is really engaging. It has really similarities to His and Her Circumstance, but it's also a lot more boring, not gonna lie. The side characters aren't that great. Again, also like My Dress Up Darling, very cute, but the story is extremely linear, and I don't know, I think the messages in here are not as good as this one. On top of the fact that I think His and Her Circumstance is a lot longer, and it's quite good in that long run time. Happy Sugar Life is really fucked up, but at the same time, I don't know. I think in terms of insight and how well it delved into like saying some important shit. In terms of like saying important shit, I think the show is extremely good, and also it's really entertaining and fun. If a show is extremely good at its comedy, then there's a very good chance that I'll love it. And Horimiya is good. It's good. There is some problems with the show, though. Okay, I think I'm going to say it. Hori and Miyamura are fucking cute as hell. The side characters, though, are really like really weird. Like, it's the fucking Full Metal Alchemist brotherhood of like romance shows, right? I mean it as an praise, but also as a sort of a criticism, because there's so many characters in this show, and it's a 12 episode show. I think if a season 2 or 3 happens and I watch it, I'm going to rank the show probably even higher. But the reason I really don't want to rank the show any higher is because like the 12 episodes that I watched focused on other characters a lot, other than main characters, and some of them were hit or miss. It's really hit or miss. It didn't entirely miss. I really liked this orange-haired girl, and school president guy, was it the red-headed guy? I really enjoyed their relationship. There's also some other stuff that happened other two, but I didn't really give a shit to be honest. Horror is like, horror is such a like enjoyable character. She's super open and super charismatic. Miyamura is also like kind of a nerd type of guy, but he's also like super daring that he also got a bunch of tattoos. So he's a pretty emo guy, and and also delving into his psychology is also interesting too. And also, wow, I kind of realized that like did every fucking romance show copy from His and Her Circumstance? It's probably also why I put the show really high. But look at the some of the show, the semblance between this and this is kind of uncanny. But yeah, despite that, I also think it's a really good show. Harmony is also kind of really funny, but funny is good. The takeaway is funny is good. I no, I really don't want to. I mean, B is really high in my opinion for a 12 episode show, especially. But it's really hard for me to like put it even higher. Yeah, oh yeah, baby. Girlfriend is. This show is so fucking good. Holy fucking shit. Attack on Titan, when I was watching Attack on Titan, it didn't want me to go read the manga, okay? Whereas girlfriend forced me to go read the manga. Okay, I kinda did. Attack on Titan kinda did want me to read the manga. And I did read the manga. Whereas, for example, Dear Stop Darling, I watched a 12 episode show, but I didn't have the strong drive to read the manga. I didn't have that. But with girlfriend, I finished watching like all 12 episodes, and I was watching it weekly, by the way. And then I read the manga, and I'm up to date with the manga, and it's currently being released. And if I were to rank the manga, it'd probably be around here. If I was ranking the manga, it might even be here. It's probably around here. But the first 12 episodes, holy shit. It's still insanely good. The quality of the manga like becomes like climaxes on certain parts. And I think the current like ongoing story is really good too. Like at the time of this recording, kind of hard to not spoil, but yeah, the current story arc is really good. And it never really got bad. The story kind of like halted at certain times in the manga for some comedic moments to happen. Generally, story never like stalled down, and even the comedy was always consistently funny. And even in this 12 episode show, the comedy was fucking slaps hard. And also, like similar to Horimiya, Happy Sugar Life, and all those other like Must Dress Up Darling, the messages are extremely good. The only thing that's really making this hard is the fact that the adaptation is kind of like not the greatest. The characters designs are way less appealing than the manga. Like if you like just take a screenshot of the anime and compare it to the manga, like obviously the manga looks better. Like I get it, making an anime is really hard, but at the same time, Rent a Girlfriend's manga like anime adaptation looks better. My Dress Up Darling is a fucking beast of an adaptation, and even like something like His and Her Circumstance, despite the fact that it aged, might actually have some better directing than the show, but it's not a huge deal. And at the end of the day, I still think it's good. The show looks decent, and soundtrack is kind of good too. I just really don't like how the drawings kind of go off proportion sometimes. But the story is fucking 10 out of 10. The only reason I'm not putting it on A or S is because it's only 12 episode show. It's kind of hard to justify that. But generally, a giga chat of a guy called Naoya decided that he wants to have a polygamous relationship. Yeah, he has a girlfriend, and he confesses to his girlfriend every single date, and the girlfriend was so enthralled by it. The girl was so enthralled by that she decided to become his girlfriend. But then suddenly this cute blue-haired girl comes in and confesses to him and says, she loves her, and she's also really super cute, and I also super digs her. So he thinks that, you know what? Let's fucking start a two-timing polygamous relationship, but I don't want to hurt my girl's feelings. So I'm going to go to my girlfriend and ask her to have a polygamous relationship. And that's fucking hilarious. Now here's everything that does is super fucking funny. Like even the guy's super honesty is what makes things very entertaining. In a really strange sense, girlfriend is parallels Rent-A-Girlfriend's themes. In the sense that Rent-A-Girlfriend is about characters who lie all the time, and the entertainment comes from this characters making this huge mountain of lies, trying not to make this mountain of lies fall down and crashing down. Whereas with Girlfriend, the main character is extremely honest, says everything he wants to say in everyone's faces, and it's super fucking funny because of that. There's so many ways to make a character who's honest and also like a complete douchebag. There are a lot of characters in every shows that are like that. But the main character now is like generally an extremely good guy. It's just that sometimes good guys are so good to the point that they go against common sense and go against the law, because the law says polygamous relationship is prohibited. But now cares about this blue-haired girl's feelings, cares about his girlfriend's feelings, and the only way, and he also cares about himself. A lot of people like have this really morbid understanding of like selflessness in the sense that, oh, you have to sacrifice yourself for the greater good, and you need to be this martyr. And well, Naoya is not like that. He also understands that, hey, I have to love myself and be honest with myself. So that's why he also digs both girls. He doesn't just stop with one girl, like desiring and loving one girl. He loves and digs two girls, maybe even multiple girls. So that's why he like, you know what? No, I can't lie to myself. I have to be honest with these two girls and my own feelings, and I want to start a polygamous relationship. And yeah, the comedy that comes out of this is like extremely funny. And the show is like really deep and insightful into people's relationship. There's also a lot, if you're like, you're open to it, if you like just drop this ego of like calling this character stupid, because calling this character stupid in this circumstance stupid just shows that you have been conditioned, brainwashed by the society into thinking that monogamous relationship is good. It's not. It's really not healthy at all. The society is wrong and Naoya is right, okay? So shut the fuck up about the show being stupid. So yeah, so in that sense, the show is like extremely like deep. And it's very similar to His and Her Circumstance in the sense that it like criticizes society. So in that sense, I also think the show should be even be higher than My Dress Up Darling, because it's just that fucking good. You know what? It's so difficult. I'm going to have to put the show out here. Yeah, I think it should be around here. Like, yeah. Like these 4 shows are like super interchangeable. I can like interchange the show. Obviously, if I was talking about this show's manga, it will be around fucking here. Maybe around even here. But no, I'm only talking about the first 12 episodes, so it should be here. So yeah, banger of a show. I love the show. You guys should definitely watch it. And then read the manga, because the manga is also a banger. Holy shit, I also talked about Kaguya-sama beforehand. Yeah, Kaguya-sama is also B at kind of lower. Like the comedy kind of like carries the show, to be honest. The romance is very slow, but I also heard some like developments happening in later seasons. The show is also so long. I watched like 15 episodes of the show. But looking at this, I don't know, maybe it should be lower, but I don't know. The comedy is like super good. The comedy is like carrying this. I really don't like episodic shows, honestly. But despite that, it's still here. It should be high, I think. Okay, another fucked up show. Oh yeah, I fucking realized the fucking name. It's Koikaze. I can't believe I fucking forgot about it. Anyways, Koikaze is something special. So this dude who's super old also kind of like gets in love with this kind of younger girl. And turns out this younger girl, who's around 15 or 16 or something, is actually his biological sister. Yeah, there's no, they're not actually related by blood. No, they are related by blood, and they go all the way. Yeah, and the show's good. The show is good. And I think when I say good, I don't mean that incest is good. I mean to say that the show is not shying away and it's like super being realistic. But at the same time, the weird thing about the show is that the age gap is never mentioned. In fact, it is mentioned, but like the characters are not like super like offended by it. It's so weird. Is this something like a Japanese thing? Because in Japan, like things seems more open in that sense. Like Japan is kind of weird, and I like it. I actually think the Americans are like, despite being the free country, they're being like super prohibitive about people having like huge age differences. I like super no about that, which is kind of weird. I mean, I personally, obviously, I don't think a 15-year-old girl should be like hanging out with a 40-year-old dude. That's kind of like irky, but if their relationship is genuine, like who am I to say? I don't get to say anything in that circumstance. Whereas in this show, aside from the age gap, there's a blood relationship happening, and the main character is super guilty about it. He consistently tries to repress his feelings for her, and he kind of fails at doing that because obviously how much are you going to repress until you pop like a balloon, So in that sense, and I also think the characters like psychological analysis and how the characters like psychology and thoughts are shown, how they act is like seems super realistic, and like if I was or any other character was in a similar situation, they would probably feel the same way. And I think that a lot of people who have committed incest, I don't know, but it's probably like a good window into people who have done something similar to that. So yeah, so in that sense, it's a very earthy show. It's very similar to Happy Sugar Life, and but it's also like super like realistic. Yeah, I think it's probably around here also. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to rank this shit. I guess the difference between the shows is that Golden Time is a lot longer. These shows are a lot funnier. This show is a lot more eventful. A lot of moving parts are happening in this show. Toyokaze is just a very realistically well-written incest. So I think at this point, it probably this should be probably around here. Fucking god, maybe Jujutsukaisen. I think I'm overrating it, but I don't know. I really like Jujutsukaisen. Aha! Jujutsukaisen is worse than incest. I don't know. I think it's perfect, right? These are like the 12 episode romance shows, and these are the action shows that kind of got even higher than that. Then Devilman also, because I love Devilman. I also watched Love Live. Love Live is super cute. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to put it really high because not a lot of stuff is happening. It's also about idols. But I don't know. The girls are super cute, and the show is not really like super emotional, which is probably why it's not that high, despite me watching quite a few episodes. But I also didn't like exactly finish it. But I watched like 15 or so, 16 or so episodes. That's a lot. And yeah, generally the characters are super lovable. It's also not exactly a romance, but the characters, the main females are like trying to become idols, and you also learn a lot about idol culture, and also the characters are singing in this, and that's super cute. And I really enjoy watching those. It's really hard to see anything else other than that, but yeah, there's also like a lot of good messages in this show about being yourself and blah blah blah, and being passionate about being true to your own passions and stuff like that, and also like not trying to make a goal out of something and just enjoying what you're doing, because one of the reasons why the main character is doing and trying to become an idol is in order to save the school and not make the school shut down. Other characters are constantly warning that, hey, you shouldn't make becoming an idol and a tool to a goal. You have to like enjoy and be passionate about it yourself. So yeah, there's also like interesting stuff going on there in terms of themes. And also the show is also kind of very funny. And the production value is actually really good too. Kacho Meito-sama. Oh fuck. Oh no, why did I put it in F? That's a bad omen, but unfortunately I don't think I could put this show any higher. Oh man, why am I putting Citrus this low? It's weird. Why did I even put Citrus this low? I honestly don't think it should be this low. Probably should be like this. I don't fucking know. Maybe I just really didn't like Citrus as I thought I enjoyed it. Huh. That's really weird. Anyways, Kacho Maid-sama is good. I think I didn't like completely finish the story, which is probably why I'm not putting it higher. There's that. There's also the fact that this show it kind of drags. Like the relationship between the main guy Usu and the main Kacho-sama kind of like drags on a little bit. It kind of like very slowly develops, but generally the premise is that like the school president is doing a part-time job as a maid, and she doesn't want other people to find out. And this guy like Usu is like super like handsome and like has a crush for the school president, and it's just about their relationship. It's kind of cute, these two caring for one another. It's a really cute show. I think I should probably pick this one back up. But yeah, it's a really cute show, and yeah, I recommend watching it. Yeah, Netsu Traffic. Now this one's a really spicy one. It's very similar to Citrus in the sense that some really, really nice Yuri sex moments have happened in it. No, I mean Citrus doesn't actually have like the smacks, but I think the show goes really close to this max, but unfortunately it's really extremely short. But I think it's also really cute. Really isn't anything that's really wrong with the show. It's just that's really short, and even this episode minutes is like 8 minutes or 10 minutes, which is not what an actual anime episode should be. I think like a small production probably did it. Generally, it's a good show. It's a really spicy meatball. But I probably should put the show way below that. Either that I probably should make Bloom Into You and this show higher. Yeah, I think this feels way better. Yeah, Welcome to the LOTGH is not an actual romance, but it's so fucking good. I mean, technically it's a romance, but I think it should be around here. Yeah, maybe even here. Like, I kind of like could like criticize the show for being too depressing and the characters being too flawed. Therefore, like, writing a too flawed character is kind of like it's a double-edged sword, right? On the one hand, it's relatable to the people who are flawed, just like you. But on the other hand, if a person just doesn't feel addiction to anything, if a person doesn't feel attachment to anything, and they're like a super like well-developed person, then like watching a super flawed person doesn't really help them. The main character Sato is like a super flawed guy. He's a NEET. He's super addicted to some things, and he's like has this paranoia about staying at home. I myself is kind of like became a NEET in a way, but it's so weird because I never saw myself as a NEET. I just think that I decided to become a YouTuber. I decided to become a game developer. I decided to become a visual novel artist and a web novelist. Due to my own life choices, I'm kind of in my own profession. I'm kind of forced to stare at the computer screen, and not just because like I have a paranoia, social paranoia. In fact, it's the exact opposite. I want to become popular. I'm posting videos, doing everything I can to make myself 100 friends, and I'm just not very successful at it. So in that sense, I'm kind of I'm very in a similar circumstance to the main character Sato, in the sense that I spend a lot of time at home. Also, my mentality is completely against Sato's, in the sense that Sato is just like want to be shut out, and he doesn't like letting other people like interacting with other people. Whereas I myself, like, you can very clearly see that I'm not having a mental breakdown with my Rubik videos. Like, people have been shitting on and constantly trying to talk me down, and I know I'm right. I know my own feelings is right. That's why I also don't give a flying fuck about what other people think. Despite that, I also want to make friends, and also I want to help people, and I want to communicate and build a bridge with other people. I'm trying to do that, but unfortunately, at the current time of a recording, I'm kind of like struggling to make my YouTube channel grow, and I'm also struggling to make my web novels and my other stuff be more popular. I'm kind of struggling in that. So in that sense, I'm really similar in a so in that sense, I like the exact opposite of Sato. And Sato is a guy who's a NEET, and this girl is trying to help him not be a NEET. And also, like, this show is just like super deep. Even disregarding that, the show's like conveys very well the meaninglessness of life. Even the addiction sometimes is like face value, right? People are a lot of times are addicted to a lot of things because they want to pretend that what they're doing is meaningful, right? They don't want to feel meaningless. That's why they get addicted to a lot of stuff. And I think the main character is also a little very similar to that. And also, this show is like super fucking funny. I think in terms of comedy, this show is like unbeaten. So in that sense, it's really cool. But also, yeah, a lot of, good life messages are happens in the show, and a lot of a warning message about being addicted to video games and not being addicted to video games, and like showing how pyramid schemes work and a lot of societal stuff. Yeah, but then again, like putting the show at high A or putting the show on other stuff, other places, like is really dependent on your own way of your own track of mind and how much you appreciate certain stuff. In terms of emotions and themes and messages, I think Welcome to the LOTGH just hits extremely hard. Like, the characters are super internal and their emotions are like so well shown, but at the same time, like, it's a show about a lot of like flawed people, right? Like, I myself, like, despite having been in similar circumstance, surprisingly enough, I never felt like depressed this way. And I don't think that I'm like trying to like suppress my own depression. If anything, I'm not trying to feel depressed. I think that's the main like difference. So in that sense, yeah, this show, I guess, helped certain other people sort out certain emotions, and I guess it helped me when I first watched it. But like right now, if I rewatch the show, it will be an interesting experience, but I don't think it'll be really be helpful to me. It's weird. It's really weird. But yeah, generally it's an extremely well-made show. Super funny, super deep, super relatable, and super emotional. I really enjoyed it. Penguin Drum is really cute and really mysterious. Like ranking Penguin Drum is really hard for me. And it's hard mostly because I don't understand it. It's so hard to like rank shows that you don't understand it. But I kind of like understand this show's feelings, right? Like people like trying to like this group of family, like they're not actually blood related, but they care for one another. They want to like love one another. They're also sacrificing their own health and their own safety for one another. The girl, their little sister has a like incurable disease or whatever, but using some super magical powers, they're able to extend the girl's life. But by doing so, the brothers have to like sacrifice their own health and stuff like that. But there's also some other mystery stuff happening around too. Yeah, but the show is very symbolic. It becomes really confusing towards the end, but I really enjoyed it because I kind of like get the message, right? And the shows, in terms of production value, it's also really well made. It's still really confusing. I don't fully understand it, but I also enjoy what I saw because I really don't understand the show because the production value of the show is insane. The ending songs sometimes change a lot, and they're all bangers. The soundtrack is fucking banger. The visuals are stunning, and the story is very confusing. I don't fully understand it till the very day I finish it. I really enjoyed what I saw, but I don't understand it. But I don't understand it, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, there you go. But again, the message is also really good and stuff like that. Like people like pretending to be someone else. People who pretending to be strong, not being beaten down. Like it's very like universal but understandable, and themes that are meant to be talked about, meant to be shown. Rama 1 to 1.5 is Rama half. Rama half is really fun. I really think it's really enjoyable. The only problem is that the show is really also the production value. I think the animation definitely aged a bit, but still there are some real Sakuga moments. And the show is also really long. It's a rom-com. And so, unfortunately, there isn't a lot much progression. It's a harem rom-com, so the main character doesn't really choose a girl, but maybe he chose in the finale, I don't know. I didn't really fully finish it. But yeah, 100 episodes of a very entertaining show, but sometimes there is some certain mid-episodes. Generally, it's really, really fun show. And I really do appreciate certain shows that make me laugh. And those kind of shows are really rare. I think Ramen is just a show that's really enjoyable and certainly made me laugh. And I also watched the show as a kid. Then I watched, when I gained internet access, I also watched this show a lot. And yeah, it was a really fun time and I really enjoyed it. And there's there's so many relatable and fun characters in the show. And also, the show is really good at mixing so many different genres, which have helped tremendously in things not being stale. It feels like a shonen action series, but it's a harem, but it's a comedy, but it's also romance. It just doesn't it goes back. What's kind of frustrating is that it goes back to the status quo a lot. But I still consider the show a bit to be a romantic romance styled. Yeah. It also can be super sad and emotional when it needs to be. It's a jack of all trades show. I really enjoyed those type of shows. My favorite shows, something like Ruby is also a very jack of all trades. There is certain romantic elements happening. Even Avatar is a very jack of all trades shows, right? A lot of different themes are explored, and that's why it's fucking bloody amazing. And I think Rama isn't that super deep as something like Avatar or maybe Ruby. But it still has its own depth. I still really enjoy it. Rent-A-Girlfriend. People have been really cruel to the show. Oh man. But I don't know. I really don't want to put the show in the same level as Kanajo or My Dress Up Darling. Because I fucking know. Kazuya is such a fucking sim. And I think while the show is deep, it also kind of like falls into the same category of like the characters being too flawed, I guess. Kazuya is a piece of shit, and I think him lying, liar plot, like I was previously talking, having a liar plot is cool and all, but the biggest problem with a liar plot is that people can't talk shit and like say important shit that like force the characters to grow if characters are constantly like lying and like pretending that there isn't any problem. In fact, I think one of the problems, it's not necessarily a problem, but like downside, I guess, to a show like Death Note is that Light Yagami is a super like narcissistic, egoistic bastard, but like the reason nobody is calling him out is that this guy is really good at hiding the fact that he's an egoistic narcissist, even from himself. He himself is so good at lying that he fools himself into thinking he's doing the right thing. And I think Kazuya is really similar to that in the sense that he like fools himself into thinking that he's doing the right thing. But at the same time, the show is very similar to situation. It's super spicy meat butter, and it's also super entertaining. And there's still like some messages. I think like using lies for the good of good is also kind of like a good message too, in the sense that like especially Chizuru. Like Chizuru is, you know, studying to be an actor, and she's really fucking good at acting. Holy shit! She, despite, you know, she's kind of lying to Kazuya, lying to her customers in the sense that she's being his imaginary girlfriend, she's still helping out other people, like sort out their own loneliness and emotions by being near them and being nice to them. Even if she's, you know, creating this persona, that doesn't mean her like compassion isn't real. Even if she's kind of like putting on a persona, that doesn't mean her compassion, like her kindness, isn't like real. It's still real. And even if Kazuya is like this as a super simp and a super coward, he still fucking almost sacrificed his life to save Chizuru's life at one time, and that's still a really respectable try. And I think people should give more appreciation to Kazuya for that. And I also want to point out that these rankings are extremely hard to make. I'm still fucking like surprised that I put like Citrus below Koikaze. I'm kind of like surprised at myself for that, but I don't know. Koikaze is also like an extremely like emotional, well-written show about a very fucked up and like dodgy subject matter. So it wrote in a really serious, well-done way. And like these shows are all extremely good. There are only like a few select shows that I think are extremely flawed, like something like Erased. Erased isn't even that like flawed. It's just extremely disappointing, and I just don't see any redeeming qualities in it. Death Parade, I just disagree with some of his messages, and Danganronpa 3 is actually really bad. Holy fucking shit! The fact that it retconned certain stuff and just didn't understand some of the characters in Danganronpa just made me pissed off, honestly. So these are the shows that I actually consider to be bad. These are shows that are kind of mid. These are shows that I actually kind of good. Think it's good. Takamichi no Apollo is really good. It's really good in the sense that the music is really good. What I'm trying to say. The show is good, but like kind of makes me bored sometimes. The characters are also not like super like open with one another. The messages in the shows are not that good, like deep, unfortunately. It's just like dudes chilling out, like hanging with one another, having love triangles, but also like playing music and like being cool and enjoying music. Yeah, I think this show is but it's also good solely because of like the characters and how they enjoy music. So in that sense, it's really hard to rank. I think it actually might be around here. The production value is actually quite good. I think like Detective Ashinda's production value is really like pulling it down. Like people like talk about the action scene in the first episode or whatever, but then after that it just went down. Like the action scene just doesn't look good, especially considering how like action oriented this show generally is. I don't know. I think I really enjoyed the show. I don't know. It's so hard to like rank the show because when you're at B, they're very comparable. All right, I can do this. I can do this. It doesn't really change anything. There's all very like shows that are very similar to it. Like a lot of people have like extremely like anchored or like high end and high down like opinions, right? Like some people think that, oh, these shows are S tiers are untouchable, and these shows at B are just mid. Mine is not like that. Everything about C is good. It's just good, and these shows are extremely interchangeable with one another. I still think like I can do something like this, I can do something like this, I can do this. Doesn't really change anything, in my opinion. These are all good shows. Like these tier lists are just for like an outlet for me to like talk about the shows. Like in a extremely bulletin way. If you just aren't that afraid of spoilers and just want to listen to me talk about anime, then yeah, obviously this is good. School Days is also an extremely underrated show. I think for an extremely like 12 episode show, holy fuck, School Days is deep as fuck, bro. I think it's very similar to Happy Sugar Life. I just think I like Happy Sugar Life a lot more than School Days, but School Days is deep, bro. It's very similar to Welcome to the NHK in the sense, and Neon Genesis in the sense. School Days is the Neon Genesis of romance animes, okay? It's about a very flawed characters. No, it starts out very innocent. I really enjoyed it. It starts out like similar to Happy Sugar Life. It starts out very innocent. You know, this main character is just want to confess to this girl, and his friend Sekai is just helping him out. So and they kind of hook up, and Kotahina is a really cute girl. Makoto and Kotahina are dating, and Sekai just kind of like has feelings for Makoto, and she's also trying to kind of repress that. There's also things kind of going on there. And it's, you know, first episode and second episode, it's really cute. Then it starts out that the main character Makoto is kind of like really getting bored of Kotahina because she's not giving him what he wants. He wants to have them pussy, but Kotahina is just not like letting out because she's no shy. She doesn't want to have a sexual relationship with this guy. And Makoto is like kind of getting really bored of Kotahina's this innocent acting charade. But Sekai is like super open and like super horny, and like then starts making out with Makoto, and like he starts cheating on Kotahina. And like School Days and like girlfriend is like almost starts off like a same story. School Days is about extremely flawed characters, whereas girlfriend is about like extremely mature and like level-headed characters. Like people who say Naoya is an idiot are idiots themselves, because Naoya is like ahead of the curve. He's like ahead of society. Like I'm pretty sure like Naoya and the author himself and the characters in the show are much more mature and level-headed than a lot of people in real life. I'm pretty sure like the characters in the show are much more like mature and like level-headed than the people who are watching this show. Like majority of people who are watching this show. And School Days is just the exact opposite. These characters are super flawed, but at the same time they're also super realistic, because I know a damn fact that most people will act exactly the same way Makoto act. They're just being a little bit of hypocrites. You know, if they truly like follow their own desires and follow their own feelings without repressing themselves to, oh, this is what the society said. If they just had a little bit of balls, they'll act exactly the same way Makoto is acting. And that's wrong. That is wrong in the sense that you're just following your own desires. Desires themselves are kind of like flawed. They're wrong. Also, like School Days just shows how life is, how certain people act, and it's just a story about how certain situations escalate when everyone is involved in the story is just loud, selfish, is just following their own rapid, like uncontrollable desires and being unconscious, following their own unconscious mad desires. Yeah, it's a tragic anime. And it's, yeah, so in that sense, yeah, it is about a show about a really fucked up story. But it's also very real, because I can see a lot of things happening in real life that are very similar to this. It's very hot, it's very like unique, interesting experience, but it's also very real. It's really hard to even call it unique, because like stuff like that, this happens in real life all the time. It's just that in the art, in animation, School Days was just bold enough to make a show like this, and Happy Sugar Life, and I appreciate this boldness. But in some ways, I also think that girlfriend should honestly be above all of them for being super deep, and the characters being super mature. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's really weird. So in the sense that the characters being like super high level-headed, and having a level-headed character important, because you don't really learn a lot from flawed characters. You only learn stuff from people who are better than you. So in that sense, I also feel like I should put girlfriend higher than everything else. I really feel like I should. I think I just talked myself into that. But I still like really enjoy School Days and Happy Sugar Life for not being censored, okay? These shows, some of these shows are not going deep because they're afraid. They're afraid that their show isn't going to be popular, or they're going to be censored by the society, or maybe the TVs will not show their stuff, show their shows. They will go financially bankrupt if they go to too many like irky subject matters. But these two shows, they went hard. They went hard. In Kogaza too. They went hard. They went deep and hard, and they're super entertaining and interesting for it. And they also are very well written, in my opinion. Okay, The Wind Rises is a movie. I still think this movie is a pretty hard-hitting movie. Holy fucking shit. I don't know, like, oh fucking shit. Tears are coming. Oh god. I think Miyazaki, like, after watching this show, cried. I think I might be like in a similar circumstance, in the sense that the main characters, like, the subject matter and stuff is like so like relatable. It's kind of like insane how relatable this show is for me, because it's a story about a guy who's making like airplanes, and he enjoys his work really well. He abandons everything for his job. He works super hard on his planes every single day. He like has this vivid imagination of flying and making airplanes. And, you know, he's a guy who loves his job, but the problem is this show has been is taking place in World War II. And his planes are being used by the Japanese military, and it's being used for World War II to kill a bunch of people. And even like the show, the strange thing about the show is that the characters, like the people who are working on the planes and who are like artists, are like saying, "Oh, this country is going to burn," and they all know that the war that's Japan is leading is not exactly the most justifiable thing. It's like, at best, it's questionable and controversial. At worst, they're literally supporting the wrong people, and like the Japan is sided with Germany, the Nazi Germany, and they're like using his planes to attack in wars, and it's just not a good war. It's not being done for like the good of mankind. On the opposite side, it's done for very selfish reasons. You know, Japan's like trying to gain grounds and like trying to get themselves out of the economic bad situation or whatever. And in doing so, they're like, and this whole war is just meaningless. And they're not even, they are like, some of the like workers there are kind of realizing that, hey, we're not the good guys in this war. At best, we're like everyone else. We're just like doing war. At first, we're probably the bad guys. The main character just doesn't care. He just really loves making airplanes, and he also loves and has a wife. There's a little bit of a showcase of how he fell in love with his wife. It's super sweet stuff, and he lives and enjoys having a fun time with his wife. But at the same time, his wife is diseased. His wife almost dies because he didn't take care of her. He was too busy making airplanes and enjoying his own craft, to the point that his wife is ill and she's all by herself. And she eventually, but at the end of the day, the guy has no regrets, because he is dedicated to his craft, and he has no regrets, because at the end of the day, results aren't the important. And yeah, it's such a good movie. And of course, the animation is crazy good. I mean, it's Ghibli. So moving on, Toradora is really good. But the only I think Golden Time and Toradora should be right next to one another. Toradora is really funny. While the romance doesn't exactly start, it doesn't need to, because even if the characters are not smooching and kissing and dating with one another, I still think that being just together with one another and enjoying their company and doing fun, goofy stuff, it just really makes the show really fun to watch. Just because, it's a romance entitled doesn't mean the romance actually needs to happen and they have to start dating, because a lot of fun stuff, just them being as friends, is just really fun. There's just so many lovable and goofy fun characters in the show that I really enjoy watching. And yeah, I think it's better than Golden Time, honestly. It's a fun watch. There's also, some good messages here in there too. Your Line April is super sad and super good. Would I actually put Your Line April above Citrus? Yeah, I guess I will. It's a lot longer than it, and it's also way more emotional, I guess. First of all, music, I think I'm giving you like Sakamichi no Apple and Your Line April, especially Sakamichi, so much leeway because it's simply about music, and I fucking love people playing music. Yeah, the story is also really interesting that our main character, this show is popular. You know what the show is all about. I also think it really like demonstrates how people deal with loss and attachment. So in that sense, it's also quite deep, and it's also very showcased in a very artistic manner, which I really enjoy. Yeah, there's also the romance is technically there, but like people don't have to like kiss and mooch and one another, say love the way you think to one another to consider it as a romance, because these people genuinely care for one another, but unfortunately life just doesn't go very well all the time. Yeah, and that's about it. You all enjoyed.